Hello everybody, Joe here, along with my reloading buddy Jake. I've been reloading for almost 40 years and have written extensively about outdoor activities, survival, our Second Amendment rights, and reloading. I hope these tips will help. With online shopping so prevalent these days, it's easier than ever to buy items that don't provide a positive feedback or high level of satisfaction. I wanted to share some of my experiences so that others may avoid regret. Essentially, these items work as advertised. What follows is only my opinion on their usefulness or return on investment. Our first item is the Franklin Arsenal Case Prep Center. It cost about $120. This multi-purpose tool is of heavy, robust construction and seems to be well made. It has a storage bin in the top that I always struggle to open. Spare collets and different attachments are stored there. This is what the storage compartment looks like after manipulation with a screwdriver and a bout of foul language. Essentially, this tool performs 4 functions: champ, deburr, primer pocket swagger, and case trim. With the exception of case trimming, all of these work well and would likely be a time saver when dealing with large batches of brass. Problem is, I bought this product primarily to trim cases, and that's where it disappoints. The trim length on this machine is indexed off of the case's shoulder. That means if you had any stretching in the body of the case, you're going to get a different length every time. You can see here the base or the head of the case is sticking out of the trimmer. If my rifle stretched it out there, I'm not going to cut anything off of the neck. I've been unable to get consistent trim lengths using this machine. Maybe I'm missing something here, but Jake and I can't think of a single scenario where indexing off the case's shoulder rather than the overall length is going to work or be beneficial. Our next product is the Powder Cop by Hornady. With the size, shape, and threading of a typical reloading die, it is designed to be used with progressive presses. This locking ring allows you to adjust for different calibers. The design is fairly straightforward. As a charged case moves through your progressive stations, the powder inside the case pushes up this ram. With a double load of powder, it should push it up very high. Without any powder, it shouldn't move at all. I can't fault Hornady here. This product actually works as advertised. I think the problem is primarily with me. This is a typical setup when I'm using my progressive press. I've got my powder drop here and an open space between the powder and the seating die. I'll insert the powder cop in the proper station. My first issue is one of accuracy and timing. The powder cop's indicator only works after the powder charge on the next case while the shell plate holder is fully raised. You have to remember to look at that little white band and try to judge its height during everything else that's going on while working with a progressive press. My second issue involves the tool's accuracy. While it would probably do a pretty good job of indicating a double load in a case or no load in a case, what I'm primarily worried about is a partial powder drop. That's where I've had problems before. My lack of attention span is also partially to blame for my regrets at having purchased this tool. There's a lot going on when you're using a progressive press. Did the previous bullet seat properly? Did it fall into the tray? Did I bend the case because the die is dirty? I'm doing everything from looking at the powder throw's arm to checking the tension on the previously primed case. Having to focus on one more thing, like that little bitty white ring sticking up, I've just found it to be very difficult and not all that useful. This product costs nearly $40, and really, it does what it says it will do. I can't be upset about that. My issue is the practicality on a progressive press and the complicated processes that are going on. It spends most of its days now unused, sitting on my reloading bench. Our next product is from Hornady as well, the Lock and Load Light Strip. It cost about $18. It consists of a thin strip of LED lights with an adhesive backing that you plug into the wall. It was designed to fit on a reloading press. It does a nice job of illuminating the work area, and I appreciate the extra light. I installed it using alcohol swabs as per the instructions, making sure the effort area behind the adhesive was nice and clean and dry. This is what the illumination looks like while you're standing above it. The problem is that adhesive strip keeps failing. It bows out and occasionally gets so loose it interferes with my press. I'm constantly having to push it back on and just about ready to chuck the whole thing or get out a tube of super glue, which I shouldn't have to do. The final product we'll be discussing is the RCBS CaseMaster Concentricity Gauging Tool. This is a multi-purpose device that includes a gauge, a center post, a set of movable anvils, and other options that can perform a variety of tasks on your cases. This includes measuring for neck thickness and also can be used to check for case separation. It costs about $100. To check for runout, you space the blocks properly for the caliber you're using and slowly rotate the bullet underneath the ball gauge. The problem is sometimes just putting your finger on the bullet to rotate it causes the gauge to jump and can give an inaccurate reading. This can become very frustrating. I thought $100 was a bargain for getting several tools in one. In reality, none of this product's features work very well. To achieve any level of accuracy, you must be very delicate and have the cartridge perfectly balanced between the anvils or blocks. Another use of this product is to measure case neck thickness. You can rotate the gauge around to this little pendulum that has a movable cylinder. Here's a close-up. As you insert the case neck into the product, it moves the cylinder up and down and thus causes the ball gauge to measure the metal's thickness. Right underneath the cylinder is a post, and that's where you're supposed to stick the case in order to measure the neck's thickness. And that's where the problem really begins with this method. The instructions recommend that you rotate the case 6 times, each movement measuring a small section of the neck wall. If the case's mouth is not tight against the post, or you wiggle it all with your fingers, then you get an inaccurate reading. Pretty soon, as you're doing those 6 rotations, you can have the gauge jumping all over the place and have no idea how thick your neck wall actually is. This process is slow, inefficient, and there are a lot better tools on the market to accomplish this measurement. Jake and I hope this video proved useful, and never forget,